Greetings, everyone. I hope everybody had a good holiday. Glad to see everybody's here. It is 7 minutes after 6. We will call the meeting of the Finance Committee to order. Appreciate everybody being here. This meeting of the Halifax Finance Committee is being recorded by Area 58. Committee members in attendance are Cheryl Burke, Michael Bennett, Frank Johnston, EJ, Bill Smith, Mike Rignetta, and myself. All voted on items will be done by roll call vote as we are remote at this time. So, on to the first agenda item. On the, I believe, the 29th, Katie sent out all the minutes of the meetings from 12/4 and the two meetings on 12/16. Has everybody had an opportunity to read through those?
I have. Yep.
Anybody have any adds, changes, or deletions to those?
No.
Okay, so Cody, do we vote on those individually, or can we vote on them as a group?
Could do them together, as long as that's what the motion is.
Okay.
Okay, so can I have a motion on the approval of the minutes from 12/4, 12/16, the Finance Committee, and then 12/16, the town meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Cheryl? Not a second? Okay. Roll call vote. Cheryl?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes, on the 3 minutes from 12/4/24, 12/16/24, and 12/16/24.
Thank you, sir. EJ?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Bill Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rignetta?
Mike, you muted there, Mr. Rugnetta.
Yeah, you didn't want to hear what I was really saying. I said yes. Good to go.
Thank you, sir.
Cool.
Okay, so that motion is approved. All the meetings have been accepted for those dates as listed. All right. Thanks, everybody. That brings us to our first agenda item. I believe we have Mr. Hayward on from the Highway Department. Is that correct?
No.
Steve,
Thought I
you
saw
muted out.
There he is. He's muted.
Yeah.
There we go. I couldn't get it on mute.
All right. Okay. So, Steve, thanks for joining. We appreciate you jumping on.
Yep. Sorry it took too long.
No, that's all right. Everybody has a schedule we're trying to kind of, mold ourselves into, which is absolutely fine. One of the things I think we wanted to talk about so far as the Highway Department is just kind of how things are going for you. There's a couple of questions that I personally have, but if you want to kind of give us a rundown on how you are from a budgetary perspective for this year so far, we would certainly appreciate that, and then we can get into a couple of questions afterwards.
Okay, yeah, my budget, I'm fine right now with the budget. That working on 106 cost more than what I thought it was going to cost. That was $653,000. So that put a big dent in my Chapter 90 money, but at least it's done, and now I can start working on some of the side roads. But other than that, the rest of my budget looks good.
So your chapter so that's going to be deducted from the Chapter 90 money, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that was.
I have to save money. I have to save the Chapter 90 money to do a project like this because, like I said, it's $600,000, which I only get 250 something from the state.
So if I'm reading this correctly, chapter 90 money is listed as 172 310.69. Is that correct?
Where do you see that one? What?
It's under highway budget. I think it's section 428-01-428-5306-113.
He's on the budget status, Steve.
I'm trying to find it on here.
Yeah, I can, I'll share my screen if everyone wants.
Sure, that's fine.
That would be good.
Everyone see that?
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't see anything. Ah, now I do. I think.
oh, that one there, the 128,
Once the breakdown.
172 310.
yep, that's, I've already spent some of that for the blocks that we have out back. That's gonna be for the salt shed. I have to replace the old one. And a few years ago, that's the money that we had in that account. The town used to share the amount that the chapter 90 put in. And that was what was left over, and we're getting a new salt shed from that.
You're getting a new salt shed from
The
that chapter?
172. Yeah, that's the town, the chapter 90 town share. Share.
Okay, so then if you could help me understand where I need to look to see the chapter 90 money for the road.
Oh, that's not on this. That's on the whole separate. It's not on this paper.
It's not in the budget?
Not on the budget status. No,
Why?
Where would that be
get
then?
it from the state.
But
That's 428.
Right, highway grants.
Yeah,
That's just for the. Like I said, that basically was dissolved, and that was the leftover money from when they dissolved it, and we're going to use that money for the salt shed. And then the chapter 90 money they get every year is where we get from Division 5.
So when did the FY25 chapter money get released?
July 1st, or whenever they release it.
So where would that be listed in your budget then if the money came to the town?
I get a separate like budget status when we ask for it from the state.
it says
Okay.
609,998.60.
I'm confused.
Mike, it's Jim, it's on the couple pages down. Number 21.
Okay, state grants. Okay.
Yeah, state grants, yep.
State share.
So all of number 21 state grants, 428 highway grants is all expended at this point in time. Is that correct?
No,
It shows that way on here because chapter 90 is reimbursement. So we spend it, and then Steve was talking about through the state, he basically, they submit like a requisition, and the state will send us the money.
Yeah, because we're showing an unexpended balance of a negative $637,000.
Right.
Yeah, that's why, because I'm guessing, Steve, you probably just processed some of those invoices.
yes, that's what it was.
And then we're going to reimburse that differential in July. Is that correct?
No, it'll be done before that, Frank. We have to show that we're paying it first, and then the state cuts us the money. So it'll be done sometime in the next month or so, probably.
So that'll clean that negative up.
Yeah.
And will it be a positive or will it be fully expended?
That'll be I'll still have money in that.
how much?
Let me see if I can find that one. Like I said, that one doesn't go on this.
I'm sorry, Steve.
That does not go on the budget status report. I get that one directly from the state.
Okay, that's confusing me. And
Yeah.
maybe it's just me being
too.
confused.
No, I'm confused too.
So it sounds so, Steve, if I and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just trying to, yeah, so what I'm hearing is that the highway department gets funds from the state that aren't listed in the town's budget.
Not on this sheet, or if it is, it's never correct. It's always behind because, like Cody was saying, it's a reimbursement. So if I haven't do a job, I have to wait for the money to come back from the reimbursement.
But it is reflected in here once so basically what this account is almost like a pass-through account. So the state, we have this chapter 90 funding from the state, and I'm using round figures here just for the point of the conversation. But let's say we get $600,000. They don't give us the 600 up front. Right. What Steve has, it's called like IntelliGrants or Grant Central or something through the MassDOT, and he submits projects that he's going to do or have done into this portal. Once we've done it and we show them that we've paid for it, they cut us a check. So the town cuts the check first, and then the state gives us the money back, which is why you see the negative now. So it is shown in here. It's just not shown in here until we get the money back, but it is in here. This is where the money gets expended from, which you can see chapter 90 state share expenditure. And then once we get that money in, you'll see it'll fall under the revenue portion when we get that back from the state. So this budget status captured because the budget status only captures a point in time, right? Mm-hmm. When things were at a certain point in time. So this captured a point in time where we've spent the money and we're in the process of getting that reimbursed from the state. I believe I think you've already submitted it for it, Steve, right? The reimbursement?
Yes.
We just haven't received the funds from the state yet.
Right.
Yeah. And as soon as we do, this will no longer be a negative.
A negative, right.
So is that the money we're receiving in July, Steve, or is this something different we're talking about?
Each year, it just adds up. We get 200, depends on how many lane miles, how many people live in town, how many people work in town. And there's a system how they figure out how much money each town gets. But we've been averaging about $250 something thousand a year, basically, from the state. And like I said, I have to build that up a little bit before I can do a major job because it's not enough money to do in just 1 year. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it becomes available in July of each year. They don't actually send it to us until we need it, until once we've spent it, but it becomes available in July. So to give you an idea, fiscal 25, we received $262,573.05. And basically it's an intricate formula, but the formula is based on local road mileage, which makes up 58.33% of the formula, population, which makes up 20.83%, and then employment, which makes up 20.83%. And they put that all in and then divide that by how much funding has been approved for Chapter 90, and that's how much each community gets.
Cody, that doesn't count the unaccepted roads, right?
Correct, it does not.
So if you accept more roads, the more money you get.
Yes. Yeah. That also doesn't include the past, is it last year or the last 2 years, Steve? We've gotten a little bit extra from that fair share, the millionaires tax there.
Yeah, it was a little bit more that we got.
So you may recall as part of that, the 4% tax on all income over $1 million in Massachusetts. Right. It has to go to public transportation, public education, and maybe one or two other categories. And so one of the things the state's done with that is they've given separate increased apportionments to the towns of Chapter 90. So we've seen a little bit of an increase over, I think it was the last 2 years.
So the money that's going to be left over from that paying off the negative 637,552 will have a balance of how many dollars? of Chapter 90 money?
That's
Say
what I
we
don't have with me now.
You get 200, average 250,000.
It was up over $1 million last year, and I spent 600 this year.
Oh,
And we're gonna use that money for,
That's the other thing, I can only spend that money on anything to do with roads,
Mhm.
equipment that works on roads
yeah,
and stuff like that. I can't use it for anything that I need around the barn or something like that. It's gotta be certain
right.
things, and everything's so expensive now that, like I said, that 200,000 we get from the state each year, it's not even do a mile of road. So I have to build it up for a couple of years and then I can spend it.
So then is the goal to do some of these residential streets then in the coming year?
Yeah, because that last mile I did last year on 106, that basically did all the numbered roads. So now I can start, hopefully nothing happens major, that I can start working on the side streets.
Right.
All right. I think I understand.
yeah, me too.
Okay. What's that?
It's a pain trying to catch up with how much they give you, when you get reimbursed and how long it takes sometimes. It makes me confused. I mean,
Sure. Cody, are the highway dollars we're discussing here, are they discretionary dollars from the state?
As long as they fall into those categories that Steve mentioned, servicing the roads, yeah, it's discretion of the town.
Of the state to give us the money?
Oh, well, Chapter 90 itself is a law.
Okay, so it's mandatory spending.
Mandatory, yeah.
It is. The amount changes based on the state budget that passes
Sure.
every year.
Okay.
But we're pretty much guaranteed to get the Chapter 90. It's just the amount varies.
Just varies on the amount that's available and,
Right. If we hit the
Yeah.
formula numbers, I guess. Yeah.
yeah.
But
Okay.
it's been pretty consistent. So 2021, we got 269,000.
Mhm.
22, we got 268. 23, we got 266. 24, we got 264.7. And then what I just said for 25. So it's
Yeah.
been pretty consistent.
So $250,000 a year, basically, on average.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're hearing, Steve say, we just did a mile stretch of road and it
Right.
costs 600,000. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah, real quick question for Steve here. A mile of 106 versus a mile of residential streets, is there any difference in cost? Do you get more for your money on the residential street or what?
if I have to completely overhaul like Haywood Street, River, what is the other one over there? Wood Street. If I did those three, it's going to cost a little bit more because I have to completely reconstruct them. And then it's going to have, if I'm using Chapter 90 money, I'm going to have to put drainage in because there's no drainage over there. So that's where they get you. The money doesn't go too far.
Right.
Yeah, that's on that type of the street. Let's talk about other residential streets that
So
aren't.
if I do if I want something close to me here, Indian Path,
Yeah.
that would be an easier fix. It wouldn't cost as much because I'd be just doing like a leveling course and then an overlay of the rubber chip seal instead of asphalt, which will be cheaper.
Right, it's also a narrower road as well, than
Right.
106 and 58 and
Exactly.
36 and.
Right.
And that job that I did this last year doing the hut in place, that's cheaper than having it milled and overlaid.
Right.
So that's where the savings at 600,000.
So we do get more for our money on the residentials
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah, but if you let the main roads get too bad, then it's going to cost twice as much to redo those. So that's why I try to get the main roads done before I get the sides.
Yeah, so basically, we're done with the main roads unless something was to happen. Is that
Right.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, that sounds good. People are going to be liking to hear that.
Nope. I'll still get complaints.
Steve, did you try to go through the TIPS program for the main roads?
No, I haven't done any of those. there was like a 5-year wait to get something done on that.
Yeah, but if you put in, they say that, but sometimes it comes a lot quicker. I mean, it's always good to put in for it to have it in the future.
I've heard of that, and I think the last thing that the town's done with that was Route 36. And the problem that we have with that is the length of time that it takes to do the job. But yeah, it's like it's free money if you can get into it.
Right.
Okay. So I just have a couple more questions for you, Steve, and then we can open it up to the floor. On the budget status report under highway other and articles.
Yep.
You have a number of articles that are quite dated that seem to be unspent.
Yep.
What's the story behind that?
Okay, the crosswalks and the electric solar lights. They want me to. I tried to get it so I could have like a revolving credit and get money put into it each year because we started putting lights in. But now, if I have something go wrong with one of the solar or crosswalks, I use this money to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
The boat ramp that was left over. That's been in there for a long, long time. That was when they redid the state boat ramp on 58. And
So,
if we have to buy some chain or something like that for fixing the ramp, we use that money. The highway bay, the recycle cover there, the wash bay, we're gonna actually have that done this year with the company that did our roof out back. But we had such an issue with the roof, we nixed it. So I'm gonna have to try to find another company that can come in and just do that job. And now it's gonna be like an overhang for where we do the washing of the vehicles. The new
What, like a lean-to, Steve?
yeah, just
Yeah.
to cover, so when we use the wash bay, it's a recycling unit, so whenever it rains out, the thing fills up with rainwater, and now it's not doing what it's supposed to do, so we have to get a cover over it.
Right, so when we're washing vehicles, it's collecting, it's gonna have like a sediment trap on there or something?
Right, and that's,
And then a filtration, and then what do you do with the water? Are you allowed to discharge that?
well, that's what I bought bags, we discharge it out into the driveway.
Right, and then just have the truck come through and clean out the sediment drain or what?
Once every year, we have the drain people come in and clean it out.
Yeah, but it's okay to discharge that water without a permit?
Nobody said that I couldn't, I've told the stormwater and everything, that's how I get rid of it. Because we put it's filtered water to start, and then it's going through another filter that we have the bag. So
Yeah, you got a bag filter for it, right? So you're running it through a bag filter and then doing discharge straight
through
out?
another filter. Before it gets to the ground, it goes to another construction filter, like they call it.
Right, and you don't have to check for hydrocarbons or anything like that?
No, I haven't. No.
And we're washing vehicles?
Yep.
Yeah, that's just, and stormwater, and our stormwater consultant said that was an acceptable means?
They haven't said I couldn't do it. I explained how I do it, so
Okay.
I'll ask them again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Steve, you might want to ask that question. Because you might have to put a
I'll
charcoal
be
or
talking to
something
her in
on
a couple
there.
of days, so I'll be asking her.
Yeah, because you might have to put a charcoal filter on the final end to catch any hydrocarbon, one more stage of filtration before you can do a complete discharge of the
All right,
water.
I'll
It's
find
all.
All right, so I'll find out
Steve,
about that.
So Steve, why does there seem to be a delay between when the town approves your dollars in these articles and them getting expended on the projects that you have asked this money for?
It depends. Some of them are from me. Some of them are from before I even got here.
Okay.
And then when I got it, the only ones that I have
Uh-huh.
is the wash bay, the fence, which that's the next one. That was when I asked for the money after I asked for it, they said they were gonna put the solar field in. And when they put the solar field in, they put up a fence. So why should we put money into the fence that we were gonna get for
Sure.
free?
That makes sense. Then why don't you turn the money back over to the town?
But I still wanna get a gate, and the side fence is kind of messed up.
Uh-huh.
But now the solar thing, nobody knows when that's gonna happen, so even if it's gonna happen. So that's why I keep on going back and forth with putting up that fence or not put the fence, just get the gate and do a steel gate.
But that's been 6 years. Six
Yeah.
years now.
Yep.
So 6 years of what? Inability or indecision or what?
It's kind of a mix of indecision and, like I said, I don't want to spend the money unless I have to. And that's one of the things I want to get the gate is the biggest thing because it's going to be one of the cantilever gates. And I want to get it so that I've talked to Caesar about the fuel master. It's a fob.
Yeah, card reader on there.
Yep. Except for it would be on like each vehicle for the police would have it so they don't have to get out and push the buttons. They just drive through and it's not that much more of a cost. But it's just one of those things that I want to get a good one, but I don't want to go too low because when you go low, you get what you pay for. And we're
Yeah,
finding
but
that
I
out.
mean, what's the cost of quality then at that point? That's the opposite question.
Well, like I said, the ones I've looked at is not. They're about $9,000 for a decent gate.
Right.
I just haven't.
So I mean, not to kind of beat on this for a minute, but it seems like we're concerned about the convenience of people doing things from their cars as opposed to them getting out of their car and opening a gate.
Oh yeah, no, that's not why I'm not doing it. I'm just giving one of the excuses why or reasons why I'm not buying just any Joe Schmo gate, if that makes sense. I want to make it so it's good for the town and not a waste of money.
Okay. So you're like banking $135,000, obviously. Well, actually 57,000 because you did spend the money on the dump truck after about 4 years.
Which one was that one?
The heavy dump truck for $71,000.
Oh yeah, that was right when COVID hit, and everybody's having a hard time getting trucks. And you didn't even have a choice when you ordered a truck at one point, and I wasn't going to get some of the stuff they were saying you could get.
Yeah.
So once I got one that I wanted, that's when I went and got it.
Right.
And I still didn't get the color that I wanted. I ended up with a white one.
Mm.
But
Personally, I think the white one looks better.
yeah, you said that.
Yeah, you and I had that conversation,
Yeah.
Steve, didn't we? Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Go ahead.
And I think that was the only one, the wheeled excavator, that one we spent the money. The backhoe,
yeah,
there's an attachment that we're looking at. It ended up being less than what I asked for, which was surprising. And the attachment that I wanted to get, because the town won't let us get a sweeper, there's an attachment that goes on there that just a little, like a 2-yard sweeper,
Right.
or 1.5-yard sweeper that we can put on the front of it. So when there's car accidents or something like that, we can go out and sweep off the glass and all that stuff with that instead of buying a full-size sweeper.
is that the highway wheel
There's too much-
excavator?
Huh?
Is that the one you got on here? Is a highway wheeled excavator from FY
No,
24?
That would go on the backhoe.
On the new backhoe.
Yep. Number 429 574 225. It's $21,800. And the one that they've had was 24,000. So I didn't buy it because it was more money than what we had. But now they just came out with another one that's actually bigger, but it doesn't have 2 pumps. It's only got 1 pump. but for what we're using it for, I think it's gonna work. It should
So
work.
that line item there, 014295874-225 is actually not a backhoe, it's a sweeper, is that correct?
No, it's for the backhoe.
Yeah, but it says highway backhoe, it doesn't say sweeper, so I looked at that.
No, it's an attachment for the backhoe.
Yeah, it's an attachment for the machine.
Right.
But Frank, the initial appropriation was for the backhoe. The backhoe came in less, so basically there's an excess of 21.8 that Steve is going to utilize it for to buy the attachment for the backhoe.
Okay,
but
so
the initial appropriation was for just the backhoe.
Okay,
no,
so this is what's left over from the backhoe.
Backhoe and 2 attachments came with it.
Right.
And then this one is just another one that I can get because it came under what the price was that we were awarded.
All right. So just so I understand, everybody here, this is to purchase a sweeper attachment to 21,800. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
That's Steve's plan for it. The appropriation was basically just the backhoe, and then that would fall under that appropriation. But technically, if it's for the backhoe, Steve could say, I'm going to get a X attachment, not necessarily a sweeper attachment, whatever, as long as it falls within the purview of the appropriation, which is for the backhoe. And then he's just saying his plan is to get a sweeper attachment.
Steve, is that plan to take place this year, in this fiscal year?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the guy to give me the new prices for them. Because like I said, they just came up with another one this year that's not it's bigger, but it's smaller motor. So it's under the 21,000 as it.
And Steve, that has the collection bucket on it as well for that price?
Yep.
So it all sweeps up into a collection bucket and they can dump it in the back of the truck, correct?
And the water system too to keep the dust down.
Oh, it does have a water injection. How do you feed the water injection? You're going to put a tank on the backhoe?
No, there's a tank that's on the machine, on the attachment itself.
Oh, the attachment has a water tank on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's not for doing, we're not going to go sweep a whole road. It's to do little cleanups here and there.
Right, exactly. No, get the debris off the road.
Right.
All right. Thanks, Steve. It's, do you expect anything, given the situation that we're in from an economic perspective, are you expecting cost increases or supply chain issues or anything that's going to drive costs up more than you currently anticipate?
It doesn't look like it. It looks like everything's staying about normal. So, let it fun.
Okay.
Now, I just have one more question, Jim.
Go ahead, sir.
Steve, regarding the roof, and I think Cody and I may have touched on this a while back, on the roof down at the town barn, that's all taken care of, all done, good to go, correct?
Oh yeah, that was Scott's project. Yeah, that's all done.
So there's no additional cost coming in for that?
No, we had to take money from somewhere else to finish that one off.
Yeah, so, okay.
But yeah, that's finally done, and glad it's finally done.
Okay. All right.
Well, that's good.
Anybody have any questions for Steve?
Who's my liaison?
I am.
All right. How are we gonna say? Are you gonna come talk? Or there's nothing. I'm not going for anything. I'm level funded anyway.
Right.
But if you still want to come down anytime.
Okay.
I'll be sending out the email, Steve, for us to meet like we did last year with Mike.
All right.
Yep.
Hey, Steve, thanks for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
right.
appreciate you jumping on.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, you, sir.
Steve. Thanks, Steve.
All right. So that closes out. Anybody have any questions or any discussion points for the highway department budget?
Nope.
Now, that's a lot of my lingerings that I've been hanging on to for a few months.
Yeah.
So, and it's good to see he's
On top of it.
taking care of some of those purchases that were old or.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Looks a lot better now than it did 6 months ago.
That is correct.
And if we can, next year, we'll hopefully see it pretty well cleaned up next budget season.
Right. Okay. All righty. So we will close out that agenda item and move on to the next one, which would be the FY26 budget liaison updates. So I know Cody has been going hot and heavy, running, getting appointments and time set up with everybody. I have a few myself this week. I think everyone else has been getting theirs. Cody, any updates? Anything you want to add to that?
Nope, I think I emailed a couple of you guys today and last week about your availability. If you've gotten back to me, I'll be scheduling. If I haven't scheduled meetings yet, I'll be scheduling them. Mike and I, we were talking at the beginning of the meeting. Mike has 3 that really aren't really operational departments. Mike Rignetta does. So we're going to meet and go over just some big picture things. And then Mike, if you're around, we may invite you to a couple others just so you can kind of see how it goes and you can be involved in those. But everyone else, will look to get them scheduled and look forward to it.
All right.
I have a question for Cody, please.
I do too.
Sir?
Cody, we're set for Wednesday, 10 o'clock with buildings and then the fire department to follow.
Mhm.
Do you have their sheets I can get in advance of that meeting?
I have the
Yeah,
same question.
They should all be in the OneDrive if you guys can
Oh,
access
okay.
it.
All right.
So under Finance Committee, if you go to, I tried to clean it up into folders, but under FY26, there's submitted budgets and it's each department
Okay.
should be there.
So those would be the current ones for our in-person meetings then?
Yes, and if you can all look and if anyone has any issues with those, let me know.
I
Okay.
do, Cody.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is it possible I can get a copy of Darlene's in the police chiefs before next Wednesday? My laptop is giving me problems.
Oh yeah, sure. Just swing by whenever, Cheryl, and either myself or Lindsay can print them for you.
Okay.
And I'll have them all printed for the meeting. So when you all come to the meetings, I'll have them printed, any documentation, because I think sometimes it's valuable to have that paper documentation when reviewing it. But it should be available all in the OneDrive. And then in the probably by the end of the week, I will have a full FY26 budget in the OneDrive where you'll be able to see all of the requests in one sheet and you'll be able to see our revenues in there and you'll be able to see where we are, which is a deficit with the current request. And again, projecting the schools. We don't have the schools request yet, but if you throw in what I'm projecting, you'll see the big picture.
Okay.
Feel free to go in and look at that. The only thing, just since it's a shared drive, don't change anything or click anything by accident. I always save a backup document, but just be careful when you're in there.
You don't want us adjusting the budgets?
Yeah, prefer not.
All right.
Thanks, Cody.
No
Thank
problem.
you, Cody. Anybody have any other questions or comments on the for the liaison updates?
Nope.
All right, then we will close that agenda item out and move on to the next. The next one was FY26 capital planning updates. Cody, I saw the memo you sent out today, so I appreciate you getting that out there in front of the department heads. I was going to ask if there were any major purchases that everybody was thinking about for next year. But I see that we're just kind of getting into that process. So appreciate you getting that out there.
We are. It's later than I had hoped. Our free cash, we had hoped to have certified in October. It is still not certified. Our financial team is working on that. So we're hopeful that we can submit that for certification later this month. And that's basically what gives you what we have to play with for capital. We typically fund our capital with free cash. So we'll see. Early estimates look good for us, but again, until it gets certified, you can't count on it until it's certified. So hopefully get that submitted soon.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, sir. Anything else for liaison, for planning updates? I don't believe so until we get that budget in. Okay, so we'll close out that agenda item and move on to committee liaison updates. Now, Cody, I know the last time, the only thing I have like lingering in my head is I think we were going to have one last zoning bylaw committee review meeting just to kind of tie everything up in a neat bow at that point. So is that something you're going to schedule or?
Yeah, I'll talk with John Bruno. I'm thinking we'll probably schedule something for mid-February. Give the opportunity for everyone to review everything and then vote on a full package. And then we'll start those, public workshop meetings and get it on the warrant for May.
Perfect. Very good. Thank you, sir. All right. Anybody have anything else for liaison updates? Hearing none, we will close out that specific agenda item. Correspondence and as may arise. I have not gotten anything myself for the finance committee. As may arise, I think the only question that I have, Cody, and maybe you can help me out with this. Now I know that we're working with the software guys on our financial software. And just kind of leveraging what I understand the software development lifecycle is and the project deployment is. Have they given Lindsay or anybody something to look at or try to say that it even works or even comes close to working or can give us results? Or are we just waiting for them to back the truck up to the front door and dump it in our laps?
No, so we going back probably about a year, we had gone through myself, Sandy, Caesar, Linda, probably did 10 hours with them running through the software at a high level to make sure it would, generally speaking, work. So they know that. And then Sandy had been working to build out our information. And that's when we came across some of the issues with building out the accounts, where we've had to backpedal a little bit is with that. But everything else looks, we've been in the system. We know it'll work once they get that segment portion built out. So they are working behind the scenes. We have a calendar. I have a calendar update here, I think for the beginning of February, where we're going to start. They should have everything built out at that point, and then we're going to start being more Halifax specific at that point and uploading our data. And they are still very confident that we will be a July 1st go live is us being cautious. They thought we could go live before that. And I had said, well, at that point, we might as well line it up with the fiscal year. It gives us more time for training and stuff. So more updates to come probably February and into March as we really get things rolling.
It's also a lot easier than having to close the books in two different systems by waiting until the fiscal year.
Yep, exactly. So
all right. Okay. Any other member of the committee have something they would like to discuss or bring up during this part of our meeting?
Jim, just real quick to kind of piggyback off of what you were just talking about with the financial management system. Cody, anything, with the new system coming live, I'm assuming that it's going to have the ability to house more comprehensive information about the town spending and revenues. With that, I'm just curious from an IT security perspective, what, if anything, is the town doing to make sure that we stay at minimum up and current with what we need to have for patching and things like that to make sure that any data that we have housed in that new system is protected the way it needs to be? Yeah,
so Caesar stays on top of that, but we also, in the past couple of years, have been bringing in a consultant. The company, it's called Datalist, and they have helped us with a lot of that stuff. They've helped Caesar with a lot of the network aspect of it. They did a full security assessment for us due to the nature of it. It's obviously confidential, but we've been working on some of the items that were identified as a possible risk in there, and they've been helping us Caesar's been doing a lot of it, and then some of the things that are out of Caesar's scope or just isn't able to take it on within his daily tasks, we've asked them to take on. But we're pretty confident that we're staying on top of those things. And there's certain requirements, EJ, too, with our insurance. So our part of our insurance is we get cybersecurity coverage. So part of that is we have to have certain aspects of cybersecurity in place, or they won't even give us the coverage. We're meeting all of those aspects, and they're signing off on it, which is good. So it's a huge benefit to us that they provide it to us actually at no cost, and we want to keep that up. And part of that is meeting their standards.
Yeah, it's just a lot for one person to watch, and it's good to hear that there's at least somebody else looking at it at the same time Caesar is, because municipalities are a big target. So we see it all the time with towns and communities getting hit by this. So
yeah, it's definitely one of the things. I think, as we know it's challenging budgetary times, but there are certain things that we can't ignore.
Right.
IT is security, certainly one of them. So I think one of the things that you may see in the budget this year is some money for consulting on an annual basis. We were fortunate where we had ARPA funding in the past that we were able to subsidize for this consultant. But like you said, as a one-man show and not even an IT director, Caesar's great, but Caesar's an IT support specialist. We do need to bring someone in on a consulting level for some of these high-level things.
Cody, does that include training for employees where the contractor would try to breach their email and stuff like that?
Caesar's taking care of that. We have cybersecurity training that is issued townwide, and it's through training modules, and that's always ongoing, and it's been deployed. So the staff are currently undertaking that right now.
bad time to ask the question. I'll admit that before I even say it, but has the town ever looked at bringing on a director level position in the IT role?
I would like to. It's a budgetary thing that we look at. And then we look at also, if you were to, towns are having a really hard time getting IT staff to begin with. So we look at, director level staffing and what we would have to pay and what the availability is out there. And at this point, we have identified it's kind of our best option is to do a mix of having in-house support staff with Caesar, and then also with some of these more network engineering things, bring in a consultant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the risk with it, though, right? When you bring in the consultant work to try to make some of these really important decisions for you on how you're going to secure your infrastructure. They're professionals, I get it, and they can make the recommendations, but we need to have some oversight on the final say, and making sure we have someone qualified to make those decisions is something that it'd be nice to be able to say we have that at some point.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more, EJ. Caesar just became full-time like 3 years ago, Caesar?
Last year.
Yeah. And before Caesar, Caesar's been here almost 10 years, but before Caesar, it was I think it was a middle school intern who did our IT.
Yep. Again, I know it's an FTE conversation that the town should really be willing to entertain right now. But this to me is an area that really concerns me from a security standpoint for the town as a whole. I think it's such a high risk, and the way that it's being looked at now for us doesn't give us the full protection that we need. That's all. I just wanted to highlight it and just make sure we had some type of discussion about it.
Have you thought about teaming up with one of the other towns like we do with some of the other positions that we have?
Yeah, we could. The problem is what I found is a lot of towns either have all of their own dedicated support staff and they're not looking to share, or a lot of smaller towns don't even have in-house staff and they have a full MSP. So there aren't a lot of opportunities out there to do it.
Okay.
You have to be somewhere close to you. And most of the towns, like I said, that have it don't want to share it because they know that there's a need for it for all, just for themselves.
Yep.
What do you mean by when you say they don't want to share it, Cody? What do you mean by that?
So they've identified that they have, if they have a 40-hour director, let's say, that they need that director 40 hours.
Oh.
They're not willing to give up, 20 hours a week or 50,
Right.
you know what I mean? Whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And then the towns that don't have it at all, a lot of them have just, managed services.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the other side of it, though, if we're limited to the degree that we are from a budget standpoint, as far as how we can staff our town's needs, at minimum, we should be able to at least have conversations with other towns, sit down discussions about what they're doing, things that they've found, just so that we're information sharing on an important topic, quite frankly, and just they may see things that we don't, we may see things that they don't, and it's a more affordable way for us to at least stay on top of things.
Oh yeah, we're definitely doing that. I mean, Caesar has good relationships with a lot of the IT staff in surrounding communities at the Rock, at the school department. So certainly the relationships are there. We're always talking, and if something comes up, an opportunity to do something like that, we'd certainly explore it. But I know, one of the first things a couple of years back that I did, identified there was a need in IT, brought in the consultant, but also I met with some other towns seeing, is there an option out there to do some sort of shared, additional staffing, right? Maybe we can't take on a full additional staff FTE right now, but can we bring someone on part-time? They work part-time in another community. And again, it's kind of been dead end because for that reason that I had mentioned before, but definitely recognize it's somewhere we need to invest in. And I think, again, not to say that we're there, but if you look at where we were even 3 years ago, we've made significant investments, which, again, which is good. We're heading in the right direction, but we definitely need to do more.
Thanks, Cody.
I appreciate the information, Cody. Thanks.
Jim, I got one more for Cody here, and this will be my last question.
Go ahead. Take your time.
Jonathan's not on here, so I don't have 200 questions. Recycle fee increases. Is there one for 2025 this year, or did that stay the same, or it was just a trash recycle went up $40?
Yes, yep. So the program went up $40. It'll be assessed on the second half bill for the fiscal year. That is the only increase we're anticipating for this year.
So the folks that are just have the recycle, there's no fee increase this year. Is that correct?
Correct.
Just the sticker, right? We don't offer the recycling pickup by itself.
Correct. Anymore. So the sticker is going up.
No.
No. If you have just the sticker, it's staying at $75.
75, yeah. Okay, it's not going to 100 then.
No, not if you have just the sticker to drop off and utilize the recycling.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anyone else?
Just a reminder, the joint meeting with school committees is the 16th.
Right.
Kingston Town Hall at 6 p.m. I believe they're going to live stream it. And so once I get that information, I'll also send it out to you guys for anyone that can't make it.
Now, Jim, we're not all attending that. Is that correct?
Well, I'm going, and anyone else is welcome to go. But I guess if we, and Cody, I guess if we have more than 3/4 of the team, then that's a quorum. And I guess we need to have a meeting or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have 4, because there's 7 of you. Yeah. So if you have 4 or more, you will need to post a meeting because likely some discussion will come up.
Right.
So it may be a good idea if everyone lets you know, Jim, by say the 13th, if they're planning to attend or not. And that way it gives you time to post something if need be. I don't think there's going to be a ton of information this evening, but I do think the idea is to make sure we're all on the same page. We're all going into this with the same expectations, that each of the towns are making it known to the school committees of where we are. So it's something that the town administrators requested, and I think it'll be beneficial. Halifax Elementary School is meeting on the 13th. And they are being presented with their preliminary budget at that meeting. I have not seen it yet. I'm hopeful to get a copy later this week. But they are being presented with their budget that meeting. I'm going to try to attend the 13th, but if anyone is available, you can feel free
When
to
is
attend
the
that.
13th? When at 3? Is that 3 in the afternoon again?
No, it is, let's see, it's 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
at the Halifax Elementary School.
Right.
And then on the 15th, Jim and EJ, I think you're both doing schools. We have a meeting scheduled with the school administrators. I will be sending you an invite for that, where we can at least go over their preliminary, Halifax Elementary's preliminary budget. I don't think we'll have a Silver Lake preliminary budget, but we will have the Halifax Elementary preliminary budget.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Perfect. It's on the 13th. Okay. Okay. Exciting times. Have you, well, I mean, I know you said that you really haven't gotten anything from the schools yet, Cody, but any kind of insight, comments, anything they've kind of floated out there for anybody to kind of digest before we talk to them next week?
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard anything. I know they presented the budget memo to the school committee that we sent out at they didn't have a December meeting, so their November meeting, and the school committee wasn't super thrilled that we asked for a 10% cut, but I think it was the administration did a nice job of explaining that this was to everyone, right? The elementary school is a department of the town, and it was sent out to everyone. It's not just the school, but that's really the only feedback I've gotten.
Anyone discuss with them about the enrollment drop?
Members of the school committee have brought that up at a few meetings. And I know the chair herself is aware of it and has brought that up several times.
Okay. All right. Okay. Appreciate the feedback, Cody.
Anytime.
Anyone else have anything under correspondence or as may arise? Okay. Very good. We will close out that agenda item and move on to the next, would be public participation. Any members of the public who are always invited to attend these meetings and have an open conversation with the Finance Committee. I don't see anyone else on here except for the people who are always on here. So, okay. Being no public attendance at this point, we will close out that agenda item and move to the last one, which is next meeting planning. As Cody said, the 16th of next week is the school committee meeting at the Kingston Town Hall. I plan on being there. If anyone else would like to go, please let me know so that I can let Cody know and Katie know. And we have to post a meeting if more than 4 of us or 4 or more of us go. Okay. So if not, you can attend the virtual meeting that Cody will send that link out when he gets it. After that, the 20th, which is our next Finance Committee meeting for Halifax, that will be a virtual meeting.
Holiday. It's a holiday.
The 21st.
Martin Luther King.
I think it's
21st.
Yeah, 21st is on the
yeah, that's on the
schedule
calendar, right? Right. 21st.
On Tuesday.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And Jim, you said that was virtual?
Yeah, the 21st is virtual. Our first in-person meeting will be the first week of February.
On the 3rd.
Cheryl, we'll try to get you a link out so that you can join from Florida, as I say jealously.
Your month in Florida.
Your month in Florida.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Yeah.
You can say bye.
Yeah, exactly. Boy, it's hot out here.
Be wearing her sun hat in the next meeting we have.
My sunglasses, yeah.
You can go to the beach.
You don't get sand in your keyboard.
Guys are fresh.
So just
All right.
the only thing with the 21st is I have a select board meeting, so I won't be able
Okay.
to attend, but Lindsay is more than capable.
Very good. Okay.
Good.
You will be sorely missed, Cody, as always.
Yeah, sure.
Likewise.
Okay. That being our last agenda point. If does anyone else from the committee have anything they would like to discuss while we are all here on the phone? Save rounds, left rounds. Okay. All right. Then can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Michael. Thank you, Cheryl. Roll call vote. Cheryl,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Mr. Johnston.
Yes, to adjourn, please.
Thank you, sir. EJ,
Yes.
Bill Smith,
Yes.
Mike Rignetta,
Yes.
and I'm a yes also. So the meeting is adjourned. It is 7 minutes after 7. Thank you all for attending.
Good night,
Good night.
everybody.
Yeah, have a
Thanks,
good night.
everybody.
Good night.